360 smart bed. Proven quality sleep.
Out on the baseball field was a blue hedgehog, a yellow two-tailed fox, and a red porcupine with a strong, and I mean very strong, knuckles, and is great in hitting a baseball. A pretzel lady with a golden retriever, and last but not least, the donut lord. They had left for ice cream, but when the porcupine hit the baseball so far that it reached all the way to Ponyville, which is where my story begins. In a little house near the welcome sign of Ponyville, a Pegasus-like Cinderella's stepmother lived with her spoiled daughter. I'm home, Periwinkle said, getting home from school. But this time she had other plans. In fact, she had brought two friends with her. Vanessa was in her room, acting as if she didn't do anything wrong. Cleather had came downstairs and asked in a mad voice, "Where have you been?" Periwinkle looked at Cleather with a serious face. I've been at school," Cleather replied angrily. "It's close to sunset." Periwinkle's two friends were hiding behind her, and their names were Susan and Bloomer. Bloomer said under her breath, "It's only the afternoon." Susan shushed her. "Shh." Cleather said, "You can't have friends over." Periwinkle asked, "Why?" Cleather said in a mad voice, "Because I said so." "Please, Cleather, I have a science project to do with them. 'Cause our teacher signed us all into groups of 3 only. So, and it's due by Friday, and it's Wednesday, so." Cleather sighed and said in her boring voice, "Fine." And Periwinkle and her two friends went up to Periwinkle's room. On their way upstairs, Cleather said in her usual bossy voice, "Make sure to clean your room, you little brat." Periwinkle scoffed and said, "Please, she's just bossing me around again, like she always." When Periwinkle opened the door, she stopped, as if someone had froze her. The trio looked a long look around the room, and then Susan asked in her soft voice, "Who could have done this?" Periwinkle didn't have a second to think. Thought about this. She raced to Vanessa's room and said, "I know what you're going to say." And she said in a squeaky voice, "I don't do anything." And Periwinkle went back to her normal voice. "I'm gonna go downstairs and tell Cleather what you did." And without letting Vanessa to speak a word, she went downstairs, and her two friends stood there, alone, not knowing what to do. Cleather was in the kitchen making dinner. Periwinkle had came into the kitchen as if there was a thunderstorm on top of her head. "Can you please explain to me why Vanessa had to mess up my room?" Periwinkle asked in a drama voice. For one, that's not how you speak to me. For two, stop blaming my daughter for every little thing. And Cleather threatened Periwinkle by saying, "You freak show brat, who's not getting dessert tonight," Cleather added. Periwinkle grunted angrily and then went back upstairs. When Periwinkle went back upstairs, however, Vanessa was in the hallway pretending to look at the photos on the wall. From the corner of her eye, Vanessa put her leg in front of Periwinkle's path and tripped her. Periwinkle fell forward as if she was going to slide into home base in baseball. But instead of eating the floor, Periwinkle got rug burned. Vanessa said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," when really she wasn't. And she went back to her room. Periwinkle struggled a little bit to get back up. She limped as she walked to the door of her room. When she opened the door, Susan and Bloomer had cleaned up her room while she had went down. Once Periwinkle opened the door, they both came out and yelled, "Surprise!" Periwinkle was surprised to see her room, but was mostly focusing on her injury. Susan looked at Bloomer in confusion. She asked, "Aren't you happy?" Periwinkle grunted in pain and said, "I'm happy you both did this for me. Really, I am. It's just that I'm hurt." That made Susan and Bloomer were even more confused. "What do you mean? How did you get hurt?" Susan asked. "Yeah, did you trip or something?" Bloomer asked, trying to guess. Periwinkle said nervously, "Well, I did trip, but Vanessa tripped me. On purpose," Periwinkle added. The two gasped. "Who is this Vanessa character anyway?" Bloomer asked. Periwinkle sighed. "Well, she's not my sister, but she's my caregiver's daughter." And she frowned. Susan thought for a minute and then said, "I know this Vanessa character is mean, but maybe your caregiver could help?" Periwinkle answered quickly, "No! What are you, crazy? She's also bad." Periwinkle sighed softly. "Okay, look, let's just go downstairs for dinner and then work on our science project. Agreed?" Periwinkle asked. Susan and Bloomer looked at each other, looked back at Periwinkle, and they both said, "Agreed." And they all went downstairs for dinner.